Hello, hello, everybody. How you doing? Just starting this up, and some people wandering in through the door to the Black Bear News live stream. So we're live streaming. It's October 7th. It's the day of International Rebellion. And for a lot of people, this has already been going on. Obviously, we're kind of I'm in the Pacific time zone on the west coast of the U.S. So for a lot of the globe, the International Rebellion has already been going on for hours and hours. So we're at the tail end of this. I feel like we're kind of like bringing up the rear or whatever of the International Rebellion coverage. But that's what it is today. And we'll just, if anybody out there has any anecdotes or, coverage themselves, news stories pertaining to the rebellion or anything else, really, just like go ahead and add to the comments. I cannot. The last time I said I was only going to go for a half an hour, and I ended up going for close to an hour. But I cannot go for close to an hour today. But we'll see. We'll see how long we get. So yeah, let's just get into. I don't see anybody. I assume the live chat is on, but I don't see anybody in the chat. But hello to all. Got some viewers joining in. So I'm going to link a video, and I keep saying this, and I'm really bad at linking videos below the live videos, but I promise to do it this time. Climate activist group Extinction Rebellion wants to paralyze cities worldwide. This is a video from a German news source, and you cannot see this video because the way the live stream is set up, or the way my live stream is set up, I cannot share my desktop with you. But it's an interesting video. I'm gonna link it below. It's fairly extensive. There are news stations covering this. Probably not American stations for sure. I don't see anything about the International Rebellion being pushed out there by the mainstream media in the United States. I don't really see it. If they are, it's probably somewhat minimal. I'm sure, CNN or MSNBC might have some blurbs about this. How you doing, Oswald, Flower Child, Torstein, what's up? So yeah, saw another good video. Sydney, Australia. Looks like they had quite a turnout. Police arrest 30 people. I'm a little bit. I know the East Coast is a little better than the West Coast, but I'm a little underwhelmed by the showing in the United States for Extinction Rebellion. I think New York was pretty good, had a pretty good showing, but the rest of the planet is much more involved with this. Firing up the chat, but does that increase my footprint? Almost anything you do increases your footprint in the technological modern civilization. Scott Morto, what's up? Warlord Pliskin. Trump just set the world on fire. In which way? So getting colder here. Last year on my Facebook, it was already snow covered. Oh yeah, that's right. There was actually some early snow last year. I remember that. There's actually been snow already in the U.S. in the Northwest. I think like Seattle, Idaho, Montana, like the northwestern states have already gotten some snow. This is how they control us on MSN by not allowing any coverage. Yes, Flower Child Tribe. Thank you, Daniel V. Thank you for joining in and tuning in. Ian John says, Extinction, or I think you mean extinction, cannot be stopped. Survivors will live and grow food in air-conditioned spaces. There's a minor insurrection going on at the Pentagon? Ooh, that is very interesting. So yeah, like, again, Trump is like, I want to get my forces out, and every time he does that, the MIC, the military industrial complex, is like, nah, we don't think so. Minor insurrection going on at the Pentagon. Air Force is refusing to follow orders by not pulling out of Syria. Good God. Could we actually possibly have a military coup in the United States? Or a soft coup? I mean, there's already been, there's been multiple attempts at a soft coup around Trump, I think. But, Russiagate was the first, and I believe this whole Ukraine thing is the second. And then they're just downright just disobeying, just not following whatever it is he wants to do. The thing is this, here's the hypocrisy. If Trump were bombing and ramping up regime change and going into Venezuela, then the mainstream media and all the lefty liberals would be like, oh, he's so presidential now. Fucking hypocrites. Liberal ass fucking hypocrites. Liberals don't know what they stand for anymore, and I don't know. I'm not. I don't like Trump. There's a lot that is very wrong with Trump. There's a lot wrong. I don't like the GOP. I don't like the right wing at all. They are just outright corrupt. But man, the Democrats are close behind in corruption, on the corruption trail, and I just my disgust actually is a little greater for Democrats and the mainstream liberals. I'm not talking about progressives that are a little more aware of what's going on. Corporatists have circled Trump to protect him and will go down him as well. I don't know. Daniel V says Wall Street bull covered in fake blood, shut down capitalism, or Mother Nature will force it to shut down. And I really think, I really believe that the rebellion, the revolution, all the anti-establishment forces, it has to be equally. We need to, corporate Democrats and corporate conservatives, they all must go. And Trump said he was going to drain the swamp, and I think that was a big reason why he got elected, because people actually believed that possibly he could have a chance to do that. I didn't vote for Trump. I didn't really believe any of that shit, but he only increased the swamp, but that doesn't mean that, the swamp isn't, the swamp gators are trying to get Trump, even though they like his swampiness. It's just a big swamp fest is all it is. Jimmy Chavez, no white people. I was just thinking about the fact that, race is a construct on some level, and it's weird how mixed up people are racially. I mean, there's lots of people who are biracial. Obviously a lot of the oppression goes from, lighter skinned or white people towards brown people. But there are so many mixed up things going on in there. I don't know. So Jimmy Chavez, I would say, how about no corrupt people? How about no morally ambiguous people? How about, because there are plenty of black people or people of color in the Republican Party. There are plenty of people of color selling out their own race. So when you say no white people, I don't know what that means. I mean, how about no sellout, corrupt ass people? How about that? Going South says making a recovery USB stick for the next time my Mac tries to go south, getting as self-helped as humanly possible ahead of the collapse. And indeed, that's probably one of the best things you can do. Protesting awesome. Communicating the problem, awesome. Self-reliance, also very, very important. I don't want to listen to this. So let's move, I'm going to just kind of quickly move into some other news. This is actually from a few days ago. So this, not necessarily part of the International Rebellion, but hundreds of thousands, and they are saying probably close to 1 million people march in Bolivia over inaction on forest fires. So this is from out of Bolivia. Hundreds of thousands of protesters marched through the streets of Bolivia's largest city, turning up the heat on President Evo Morales as they voiced outrage over his government's response to wildfires that have razed broad swaths of the country's forests this year. It's not just Brazil. Obviously, the Amazon covers a large area in many, many countries. Protesters in the wealthy industrial city of Santa Cruz brandished placards at the demonstration late on Friday calling for a punishment vote against Morales. Tightening polls show Morales, Latin America's longest-serving leftist leader, may be forced into a second-round runoff. The chief rival, Carlos Mesa, a business-friendly former president. Oh boy. Well, that'll be helpful if we get some business-friendly right-wingers in there, Bolivians. I don't know. Authorities did not give an official estimate of the number of protesters on Friday, but a local reporter working with Reuters said 350,000 people marched through the city. But I'm actually showing on Twitter more than 1 million people in Bolivia have taken to the streets. So I don't know what the right number is. Is it 1 million or is it 350,000? Thanks for coming in, guys. If you like this live stream, more people will see it. Keith Boyd, hi from Australia. How you doing? Anthony Davis, how you doing? I guess I'm a doomer, but with some. Anthony Davis says, I guess I'm a doomer, but with some hopium along with my daily cup of Black Death coffee. Cheers. I'm smoking the hopium until there's no more hopium to smoke. And by hopium, I don't mean like everything's going to be fine if we just gather our technological prowess. I mean like hopium as in like maybe there's an very outside chance that we could all get our minds right and get our heads together and do the right thing. And basically, shut down industrial civilization as we know it, while hopefully managing all the other things that might destroy us in the meantime, like nuclear power and or global dimming and or, et cetera, et cetera. The Kurds are already realigning with the SAA in Russia. Yeah, so, man, it's a big-ass mess. And I actually, Trump came out and said we're going to pull out. He said this multiple times, and then something crazy happens in Syria. Like, oh, there was an attack. We can't possibly leave. Oh, really? How convenient. That happened in Afghanistan too. So now he says he wants to pull out, and they're like, God damn it, you're not going to pull out. They're doing the, for what it's worth, Trump is a corrupt ass motherfucker, but for what it's worth, the powers that be clearly do not like him, clearly want him gone, clearly don't want him, honestly, we haven't gone full bore into Venezuela yet. We haven't gone full bore into Iran yet. We and that I think has to do with Trump, putting the brakes on it. And also it has to do with independent media, giving people the truth about what's going on. I have to give a shout out to independent media. I think it has a lot to do telling the truth and being able to parse the truth and being able to tell the truth around certain stories, especially Venezuela and Iran, is very, very powerful, and it goes a long way to keeping the powers that be from just running rampant and doing whatever they want, because when people know the actual truth of what's going on, you have more of a chance of pissing people off and losing your consensus of power. Keep on liking the video, guys. The more people that like it, the more people will see it. Excuse me. Tinkerbell says, sky is not falling. The surface is on the rise. Yeah. How about they're coming together in a nice little doom sandwich. Veronica Harris, hello, hello. Daniel V says, Kevin, it seems like the only solution to abrupt climate change is removing the carbon and methane out of the atmosphere and storing it back in the ground. Transfer defense budget to carbon removal. And I totally agree with that. That's actually, if I were running for president, that would be one of my green platforms. That would be one of my main platforms, would be like, I'm bringing the troops home. I'm shutting down a lot of military bases. I'm transferring a good portion of our defense budget, at least half, to creating a green core and fighting climate change, and completely transforming our system, on a dime, as it were, within a few years. Bonsoir. Donald McCarthy, bringing the French flavor. Brian Smith, hello. Daniel V, Bernie 2020 is the only solution. I agree. And not only is he the only solution, but he needs to be pushed even further. Even if he gets in office, he needs to go, even further. Veronica Harris says Hillary would have bombed the shit out of Iran by now. Absolutely. Look what happened under Obama, right? Said he was going to get us out of these wars, did not, got us into 5 more wars. So all of Trump's faults, taken together, he's terrible for the climate, he's terrible for the environment, he's terrible for so many things. He's terrible, for people at the border. He's terrible on all levels. He's, really not a good president. But I will say this one thing for him. He has not gotten us into any more regime change wars. And, whether that's his doing or totally his doing or not, I don't know. But I am thankful for that. I don't know that Hillary Clinton would have held the military industrial complex at bay. I don't know that she would have. And many people agree with me that she would not have. Anthony Davis, Obama, exactly. That's not to say that Trump doesn't have his things where he's, he has escalated bombing in Syria. He is threatened to pull out of these conflicts and also escalated some bombing and some conflicts in other regions. The thing in Yemen going on, I mean, we're fully backing Saudi Arabia, and that is, seems to be escalating. The Pentagon won't let him, exactly. Ian John says Michelle Obama or Oprah will end the race and win by a landslide. Unfortunately true, but I don't. Look, either one of those people as president would just be like, here's some more status quo for you guys. Here's some just holding steady and letting the powers of the neoliberal class chip away little by little at our economic power, at our rights and freedoms, they're going to allow the rich to take more money and the poor to get poorer. That's exactly what happened under Obama, and it still continues today. And I don't think that any of that would change under Oprah or Michelle Obama. Sorry. They would just be nice people to have in office for a little while, and everybody could breathe a sigh of relief that nothing wild was going on. But I mean, I want more than just nothing wild going on. I need wild change in office. So we need to go from Trump to, completely to the other opposite end of the spectrum, which is radical leftist progressive change in our government and in our country. We don't need any more, they're fine. No scandals. So that's great. Everybody can just, go about their business. We don't have time for going about our business. Business as usual is what is killing us. Business as usual is what is going to be the end of this civilization. We don't need business as usual. No more business as usual. Dear God. I'm sick of hearing Clinton's name too. Could she please go away? Please, get the hint. I don't, but I mean, there's plenty of liberals out there. They're, oh, Hillary just would have been great. Very strong, just a strong woman. Nah, not so much. This is a good point that Jimmy Dore makes and some other commentators make. If you just want any woman in office, how about Sarah Palin? How about Michelle Bachmann? Right? So liberals would just be like, no, no, no to that, right? But they're totally fine with Hillary because for some reason they're just like, oh, she's not corrupt at all. She's fine. They're really, really blind to the corruption on the left, but, want to get really insanely, over the top outraged at the corruption on the right. It's just ridiculous. Come on, man. Going South says Monday, October 7th, and Axel Schweiger and the UW in Seattle still haven't revealed the sea ice volume for September 1st. I wonder what that means. I actually just saw I saw several graphs or statistics putting us at second lowest behind 2012. That's pretty significant. I would like to see those numbers too, as well, going south. Margaret Thatcher. Indira Gandhi wasn't such a nice lady. She was fairly authoritarian. Excuse me. So I'm going to go just kind of wander through Twitter a little bit. There were a lot of posts I saw dealing with International Rebellion. Of course, as soon as I open Twitter during the live chat, all these things are going to disappear. There's a lot of tweets around Bolivia. Let's see. If any of you all know, I'm hearing a lot of things about Netherlands too. There's quite an amazing showing in Netherlands, right? Extinction International Rebellion in Philadelphia there's a little die-in, looks kind of small, but excuse me. There is, the London Rebellion looks pretty huge. Westminster still going strong. I think there was a little bit of an article I was going to check into. Hillary corrupt to the core. Exactly. Anthony, I find the situation very revolting. Yes. Ice volume or Kevin volume. Is my volume really low? I'm sorry, guys. I don't, It's where it is on every single video. I don't know if maybe I just need to be in the mic a little more. Yes, XR offices were ransacked by the police. They did some pre-arresting. And somebody was talking about in the comments of the last video was, they're going to have to start getting a little bit wiser and have some stealthy communications using Tor, etc., or some other ways around having public communications or public, letting people know where they are. Forced dweller. That's, yes. First real civil disobedience in Amsterdam. Lots arrested. Where is this other article that I had going on? I don't know. Sorry, guys. Sorry, just trying to get back to something I was looking at. Volume is okay. Yeah, some people were reporting on the last live thing that there was only in the left channel. It's on stereo, so if you're only hearing left channel or the volume is low, I think that's on your end. There is so much going on, and globally, we have the whole impeachment inquiry situation, right? So the Democrats can't even go into, they can't even get it together enough to just say, we declare, we're going to impeach you. We're going to have an inquiry. We're going to spend a lot of time talking about whether we should impeach. We're going to suck all the air out of the room, from pertinent, very important subjects like climate change or like the 2020 presidential race. That is almost all of that has disappeared in the talk about impeachment. And obviously climate change, international rebellion, climate strike, all of that has gone, by the wayside because it's Trump all the time. Don't get it twisted, guys. They love Trump. They love Trump. Trump is ratings. They love Trump. They love telling everybody how much they hate Trump, but they also love spending all that time telling everybody how much they hate Trump. They're full of shit. Let's see. Let's go through and see if we can see more Twitter things going on. Man locks himself to a hearse steering wheel in Extinction Rebellion protest. This is from the UK. Edmonton. All right. Go Canada. We're peacefully blocking the Walterdale Bridge in solidarity with rebels across the country and the world because our governments aren't acting fast enough to stop climate and ecological breakdown. It's bridge out. So they took the bridge out. There is another bridge that is blocked in one section of somewhere in England. I can't remember the city. Extinction Rebellion, Toronto. In Australia, environmental scientist Martin Walterding was arrested for participating in civil disobedience. If you saw a man in a suit being dragged off the ground, that was him. There were a few men in suits, actually. This is an older gentleman with a John Bolton mustache. This is big. This is a big showing, and I'm very encouraged. I'm not, I hate to dismiss what's happening in the U.S., but I have to say the U.S. showing is not anything close to what is going on in other countries in Europe and Australia. And I hope that we can get a little bit bigger. I'm going to do my best to show up at the Los Angeles action going on today between 3 and 6. I'm going to try and get over there for a few minutes, maybe half an hour. I may go live again over there if I can, everything works out. Problem is that I'm going to have my daughter with me, so I just don't know how that's going to go. Fiesta Cranberry Bread and Circuses. We have 79 watching. Just had 80 a few seconds ago. Please like the video. More people can see that we're going live if you like the video. They just found a doll of Greta Thunberg, hung from a bridge in Rome. It's crazy. I was watching a live stream from Extinction Rebellion last night, and many of you were in there, in the live chat there. Man, the trolls are working overtime, and the people who just don't want to believe the science, and the people who want to dismiss, people who care about the climate as, insane nutcase kooks. They are large, and they are many, and it's very, very scary. And there were so many trolls in that live chat. It was really depressing, However, the likes were greatly outnumbering the dislikes. The numbers of people watching were way more than the troll. It was just a few trolls, but they were trying to ruin everybody's day. Whatever. We have the numbers. We have the support. We have the truth. and the truth is on our side. We have 83 watching. Thank you guys for coming in. Daniel V says, warmest June, July, and September on record in 2019. We are in runaway climate change. Unfortunately, that is very true. We are already in, I mean, if you look at just the basic knowledge that the last 5 years have shown record warming, and the trend just doesn't seem to stop. We are in an exponential trend line, or we're definitely in a very firmly upward trend line. The weather here, somebody's talking about the weather, and Veronica's talking about the weather in France. Weather perfect here. I must be on another planet. The weather is actually almost summer-like here in Los Angeles. We've been getting very warm, 90 degrees, almost close to, in the 90s, not quite 100, but close. Environmental Coffee House says, even I got trolls on my Greta commentary. That usually doesn't happen. I mean, as this awareness and rebellion and revolt get larger and more vocal, the opposition, the pushback is going to get more vehement. Not just by the powers that be, but by everybody who really, really needs, business as usual to keep going. They really need to believe that everything's fine. They really need to believe that this is not an emergency. It's sad. It's frustrating. It's embarrassing for the human race. It's incredibly angering. Sorry about that, guys. I don't know if you heard that or not. Maybe not. Keith Boyd says, some suggest we are past 1.5 from the 1750 baseline, almost 1.7. Yeah, well, I'd say we're anywhere, the predominant, the predominant mainstream take is that we are at 1 or 1.1 or something like that, but many others believe we are anywhere between 1 and 1.7 or 1.8. I don't know. If you're looking, so here's another way to think about it. The official CO2 parts per million count from Mauna Loa is something like 415. But if you look at the CO2 parts per million in other places around the planet, it's 430, it's 460. It's extremely high. When are we going to start seeing regional parts per million counts of like 500, almost 500? So, global temperature being what it is, obviously that doesn't mean that everywhere on the planet is, we're in, every place on the planet is in the mean temperature zone or in the, whatever. Clearly the Arctic is heating faster than any other place on the planet. Clearly the northern latitudes are heating much, much faster than the tropics, but the tropics are also heating too. So, if you're looking for a safe place to go, it might be like down under the ground. Basil Peterson says, I got to start a fire here in the wood stove here in Finger Lakes, New York, cold and damp with endless rain. Tinkerbell says, denier trolls give you great peeps motivation. They sure do. Yeah, there's underneath there was one of the videos that I was talking about in this live chat, filled with deniers and filled with, just stupid, idiotic commentary. How did they get to the protests? I bet they drove a car. Somebody said they rode bicycles. Well, how did they make those bicycles? Huh? Where did they make them? Just dumb. Listen, that's one of the biggest arguments now from the doofus contingency. Like, Or did you fly there? How much carbon is your footprint? What do you do? Are you doing it? You know, like, look, man, we're trapped. We are in a trap of this industrial, civilization forces everybody into this civilization in order to live by these rules and consume and, live as everybody else does. In some places, it's illegal to live off grid. You are forced into, being connected to the water and the electricity sources. Yeah, so you can't really people are concerned about this. The dumbest thing that you could say is like, oh, but you're doing it too. Or what are you doing? How much carbon are you using? All these people are way more concerned about their carbon usage than you are, and they're probably using in their lives, their daily lives, much, much, much less carbon sources or carbon emissions. They're adding to it in way less numbers than you are. They're doing their best. They're trying, whereas you're not trying. And you're using the excuse that they're doing some kind of damage to the atmosphere. You're using that as an excuse to okay all the damage that you want to do. So that's not an argument. That is not okay. Civilization is a heat engine, of course. Brian Smith says right-wingers picketing the main drag in the next town over because abortion? Something odd is definitely going on. Oh, and there's, a lot of people are chastising, a lot of people in that one chat I was talking about were chastising Bernie Sanders for linking overpopulation to climate damage. Yeah, because that's logical. That's logic. And he's, one of the few political people out there that can actually, tell the truth or actually confront something logically with, facts and understanding. And oh my God, the head explosions. Traced or Trout says Colorado high 77 on Friday, high 32 on Thursday. That's not normal. Well, guys, so I have run out of time for this chat. I got to wrap it up. I'm sorry that this is not very long today. We have 82 viewers signing in. Thank you for joining me in this live stream today. Please continue to follow the International Rebellion and support it where and when you can. Also, you can also support this channel. Links in the description box. But thank you guys for joining in. I appreciate you all. Sorry it's so short today. I will see you on the next one Friday about 1 p.m., okay? All right. See you later.